Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for investing your time with us this evening. I'm Koli Sudeepa, and I will be today's discussion's moderator. GirlScript is the fastest growing tech community in India. It is a non-profit project brought to you by GirlScript Foundation to help beginners in technology. It started as a project which has been selected by Mozilla under the Open Leadership Program out of 51 open source projects worldwide. Now, this foundation has its chapters started all over India. These are some of the initiatives taken by GirlScript to empower people. Today, we have an amazing panel on the impact of COVID-19 on IT sector, where we will be talking about the immense results we need to keep our eyes on that could directly impact IT sector. Before we dive into the panel discussion, I will take a few minutes to introduce our panel members. Abhishek Sansanwal. He's the founder and CEO at Verved. He is also a TEDx speaker, Google Venkat Memorial Scholar, international award winner titled Top 50 Tech Leaders by Intercon Dubai. He recently won the Young Entrepreneur Excellence Award by NCCN. He also makes YouTube videos and make content on Leher and Instagram. Prapun Kumar Illapani, an HR recruiter turned entrepreneur, who became a career coach to help students find a purposeful career. He's a founder and CEO at Averial to help the authentic startups find persistent talent among freshers. He speaks about curiosity, persistence skills, internships, and entrepreneurship, which enable him to become a better version in his own life. Ishmeet Singh. He's a co-founder and development lead at Simplified Automation Inc. He oversees the engineering and product development of Process Excellence Temple, a single end-to-end enterprise solution for manufacturing industry that enables an automatic and seamless connection between all WCM, TPM, lean manufacturing pillars and tools in one platform. Now, let's head on to the panel discussion. It's happy we all have you here. Let us start the questions. Prabun Kumar, how do you think will COVID-19 impact the creative abilities and revenues of the IT industry?
Hi all, I'm Prapun. So the first question is about how COVID is affecting the creative abilities and revenues of IT industries. So let me give you my perspective on this particular situation. So as an IT industry, it has a lot of innovation when it comes to projects from different countries, and especially when it comes to technologies where businesses started enabling this technology in every landscape, be it steel, be it textile, be it retail, wherever. But because of the COVID-19, there is a lot of business which is facing a complete uh, hurdle kind of a thing. So which is actually pulling our growth a little slow. But the point is, I believe there is a lot of scope, especially when it comes to innovation. And IT sector, a group of team is very capable of innovating things, and I believe they will definitely cover all the gaps which we are currently facing. And I feel like it is a different level game which is going to be happen after this COVID-19.
Yeah, let's hope for that.
Deepa,
And
so Deepa,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So Ishmeet Singh, what could be the major disruptions of the IT sector after this COVID?
Thank you. Thanks for asking me that question, Sudeepa. There's a saying in IT that change is the only constant. But this time, the change has not been in technology versus it's more of how the users behave, how people adjust to this pandemic situation. But since we are used to change, it's I would say it's more encouraging and it's more challenging at this time where you would have opportunity to basically learn and grow with the time. So to answer your question, IT has faced a lot of problems, which I would say also have come as a ripple effect from the different industries. Uh, but that being said, people are getting used to it. Uh, Employees are getting used to how you would want to work from home. Uh, there are few processes and there are few, uh, you know, processes that we are used to follow that we are used to do in person. For example, planning sessions, sprint plannings, retrospectives, and so on. But initially, it might have been a little difficult to get used to doing them remote. But eventually, I think people are learning really well. Uh, I would say there's also one major problem that IT is going to see as well with, as compared to other industries. That would be loss of a lot of cash flow. That's actually resulting in a lot of, job cuts as we are seeing. But again, as I said, IT has capability to reborn itself in a very innovative way. And people are working in that particular area pretty well. And I would think that uh, we would come out of this situations pretty well. And the companies that are most impacted, even in IT, as you know, most of the companies today are cloud based. We are going towards cloud. We don't want to manage our own infrastructure and so on. So the impact is pretty less. But companies like Uber, Swiggy, and companies with infrastructure in the field are probably going to be the ones facing the most impact today in IT.
Yeah, Ishmeet, we agree with that. And Abhishek Sansanwal, what's the future of information technology in the health industry? And how can IT professionals help overpowering hospitals?
Great. That's a wonderful question. I hope my voice is audible.
Yeah, audible.
Everything. Okay, thanks for that. So first, thanks for having me. Hi guys, everyone. My name is Abhishek Sansanwal. Thank you for coming on here and joining us in this panel. So to answer your question, see, there's a huge scope in IT helping the healthcare sector, because as you know today, like I recently read this article and on WhatsApp received so many images and messages that to treat COVID-19, if you are affected by the disease, it would cost you around 500 to 700K at good hospitals. So bringing that cost down, and also since India is a developing country, so there's so many things that we could do using artificial intelligence, machine learning, that can really bring the cost down, one, and two, it can really help us manage all of this healthcare system better. So that would be my short answer to the question.
Yeah, the artificial intelligence definitely helps towards all these problems. So the next question is Ishmeet Singh. How are IT employees benefiting or losing during the period of revolution?
All right. There's, as I was saying before, there's a lot of change for everyone, but I've seen uh, I've seen other industries taking a big hit, whereas my colleagues in IT, they're taking this as an opportunity to basically improve their skill set. So I think it depends on the person how you take this change. Uh, I personally feel that we should all take this very positively because we have a lot of time for ourselves, and this is exactly the time where we would want to spend more time with our family because we save time from commute. That's like a big pain in IT. Uh, but at the same time, you want to invest your time in education and training and development. It's a great opportunity for everyone, especially in IT, because we are blessed to be able to work remote. So we can lead our training and development sessions ourselves. We can do some courses and so on, and people are doing it. it's great to see how industry is responding to it. On the other side, the social aspect between the teams has gone down, I would say, because the personal connection that you would make with your colleagues while working with them in person is something that would be missing for some time, as we see people going back to offices. That's not looking good so far. But at the same time, I would say it's a win-win situation for everyone, because companies are learning from it. They are applying different methodologies. For an example, in our company, we kind of are organizing online coffee chats and some games for our teams to basically come together and have that dedicated free time and enjoyment time with your colleagues. So these type of exercises would help companies and organizations. At the same time, I would say be positive and take this time to increase your skill set and spend your time training yourself for the future.
Yeah, definitely everyone will be positive and use their time for the well-being. So, and Prapan Kumar, what are some of the major challenges tech companies are facing with all its employees working from home? Prapan Kumar, can you unmute, please?
Yeah, that's a good question to say, because we have a large employment specifically in IT sector, and when it comes to the biggest challenge here would be the habits of an individual, because I saw many programmers, different IT folks who just want to interact with people and take breaks, and that is not going to happen here, because there will be a lot of mind which is going through the processes like debugging, or else coming up with new ideas, or else developing some, fulfilling the requirements. There are a lot of things which are there when it comes to IT industry. So maybe one thing is making always motivation or motivated to complete the task would be definitely a big challenge for the management. And if people can solve this problem, I'm sure like this is going to be a revolution where people will be very happy and to start working from their homes itself. That's my short answer.
Yeah, we totally agree with it. So, Ishmeet Singh, there has been a rising increase in the number of IT employees being laid off by various companies to cut off on the costs. I think you know that. And where the job loss is proportional to the reduction in demand? And how can we create more jobs for those people in the post COVID-19 world?
Yeah, I would say that's a very critical question you asked me. I'll try to answer that to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely, we have seen job cuts, and I would say any other industry has taken a bigger hit than IT, because again, we are blessed to be able to work remotely. I would also say that a few companies have also taken this as an excuse to cut down their workforce and to cut down their uh, cost. But there are other aspects to it, right? You definitely would not want to just lay off employees to cut down costs, because you would have other costs as well, right? So in my opinion, there's an opportunity where you can cut down the other non-essential infrastructure or activities that you're doing. For example, we went remote right after, as soon as the lockdowns came up, and we saw the situation is not going to get better for rest of the year. So we cut down our cost for rentals. We cut down our cost on some of the perks and benefits that we would be doing. That's better than laying off the employee, because you definitely, there's going to be a hit. You have to take the hit. You live in a real world and it's going to impact you, but you don't want to let your team be impacted by this as much as you can, right? So there are definitely opportunities in any company to cut down the costs. outside your workforce to basically maintain your cash flow. Uh, but eventually, a few companies I was mentioning, like Uber, Swiggy, and so on, which manage infrastructure in the field, they might have taken a big hit, and there might not be any other options. So they have to take this major step. That being said, banking, IT, and education tech. These are three industries that are actually going to add jobs during this period. As we know, education has gone online as well. Banking is mostly converting to online infrastructure as well. And IT has got to help every other industry. We are seeing IT helping health industry. We are seeing IT helping the other major industries like manufacturing and so on. Uh, so IT is one of the pillars of these different industries, right? So I would say to in the post COVID-19 world to come out as flourishing as before, everyone needs to build their skill set, because you can take the job from the person, you cannot take their skill set from a person, right? So you need to build your skill set. You can build your skills, and you can add more uh, technologies to your resume, more processes to your resume, and that would pretty much help. So that's my 2 cents on how the world's probably going to flourish from this impact.
Thank you, Ishmeet. That's really a wonderful response from you. So the next one, Abhishek Sansanwal. How can data analysis help in improving the current situation due to COVID-19?
Okay, wow. So data analysts, what do? They play with data, right? Let's talk in simple terms, since
Yeah.
most of our audience is probably students. So yeah, data analysis is all about, in simple terms, playing with data. And as you know, to sort of analyze these patterns of COVID-19, to analyze the patterns of how it's spreading and where it's spreading, what's the number of cases and how it's impacting and what is it impacting, to analyze all of this and to figure out all of this. And also another aspect is, a lot of people talk about recession, right? In this answer, I'm not going to dive into it, but also if you're really good at data, you can really sort of figure out, there's this thing that, in every 6 to 10 years, the economy needs a time to sort of take a break and rejuvenate. So that being said, I think if companies are really good at analyzing data, and not only in this aspect but also in all aspects, like data analysis is the big thing. Playing with big data for healthcare, for analyzing different things, for weather forecasts, and for basically all different fields. So I believe data analysts, you guys are going to be needed the most right now.
Yeah, that's great. And there are many data analytics that have come into picture now, and many of the students are interested towards it. So the next question is to Prapan Kumar. Do you know any work that needs the physical on-site presence of the employee, or can the IT industry still function equally even when the employees have to work from home?
Definitely not, because you can see everything. Not currently, it is going through online, and we have apps like Zoom and many other Google Meet and other tools, which is actually solving this specific problem. In fact, the same meetings which were supposed to happen one to one have become more interesting when using these tech tools, especially during the sign. I mean, letting know what the specific requirements, or else business proposals. Everything is going through online itself, and I believe there is no need further in traveling. I mean, for that one meeting, people used to prepare or get ready in the early for catching up the first flight and going for that specific location, and it was so much. I mean, more than the happiness of getting that specific project to complete, or that specific meeting to complete, there was a lot of hurdle. But because of COVID-19, those all hurdles have removed now. So I believe it is no matter that is going to be that important further. If there are, a very few will be continuing in those lines. That's
Yeah, sure. And Abhishek Sansanwal, will the IT sector grow after the lockdown? And what are all the possibilities?
Yeah, 100% yes. Now, see, IT
Yeah,
sector. If you
sure.
look at the past, past years when situations like this came across, IT sector always came through, right? And also the reason is there's the other industries, they need the IT sector to sort of get back to the normal life they used to be before COVID-19. So definitely there's going to be a lot of opportunities in IT sector. I know a lot of jobs are going away, and it's not a good time right now, but things will be better. Just hold on and look on the positive. Either you can look at the negative and complain, or you can do something about it. So I would say definitely there's going to be opportunities. IT sector will grow. There are so many things that IT sector can handle and will need to handle to also even be prepared for the future. Because now we have to be careful about such things happening again. As Bill Gates said a few years back, I guess in 2016, in one of his TED talks, he said that there's going to be a pandemic soon and we are not ready for it. So I believe now it's sort of a lesson as well, and people are going to prepare for it. Businesses are going to be more careful to be ready to face such situations. And yeah, I think the change will come, and just be positive and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, being positive is the only thing that we can do now. So the next one is to Prapun Kumar. Can you suggest some solutions that the government can implement to support the small and mid-sized IT firms?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in fact, I am part of Vizag startup ecosystem, and I have been closely associated with AP innovation, and I keep hearing a lot of insights when it comes to IT sector, where they want to implement several initiatives, and a few individual bodies like ITAP and a couple of interesting bodies are going in the same lines, and they're proposing to the government, in fact, on several changes. Maybe those changes, a few, to list out a few of them are about where the packages, especially the packages, are specifically for helping these IT industries in terms of their cost for rental, electricity, and a couple of other maintenance. So there are few packages which are coming up and solving that. That specific issue, and also the government is currently focusing on skills, trying to build a good talent, and that is also a crucial part. And this is the right time where they can invest actually, like APSSTC and a couple of good bodies are working on those lines.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's Ishmeet Singh's time now. So, do you think the IT industry will face recession? And if so, how much time will it take to get back on track?
Uh, that's a that's a great question. So recession, everyone has a different definition of how they see recession. Uh, I heard Warren Buffett say a few days back that it's gonna be a steep recession for in general, not specifically for IT, but it's in general. It's gonna be a steep recession, uh, but it's gonna grow even more steeper uh, after this whole thing has gone away. I'm not sure how many of you guys know about 2009, but that was a major hit. That was a much bigger hit than what we are seeing today. Uh, IT sector especially has not taken a lot of impact because since most of the IT is moving towards SaaS-based models, uh, you might lose your MRR for like a couple months or so, but eventually people are going to come back to subscriptions. People are going to move back to build the businesses that are going to run. And we have seen even in past in 2009 that the most successful startups have basically been born in these times. So recession, I would not say it's gonna be very hard. There will be loss of cash from the industry, which is true, but you know, we are coming forward in a way that we can build that cash flow again very fast. It's probably gonna be a major runway coming forward, and industry is gonna recover very fast from this major disruption. Uh, the other major aspect is that the other industries, like health, medical, manufacturing, and so on, they are basically demanding solutions from IT to implement social distancing. Uh, I've recently seen a lot of new products and new technologies where people are building products for social distancing, measuring temperatures from distance, and so on. So we're going to see increase in these type of products coming up, and IT is going to support all of these. So we have to be the backbone of the other industries moving forward, and that would be, I would say, a great inspiration for everyone in the industry to keep their spirits high and recover from this impact as soon as possible and as good as possible.
Yeah, Ishmeet, sure. So, will there be an advantage for startups after this lockdown? Sansanwal?
Okay, so as Ishmeet talked about 2009, obviously I was a little kid back then, but I do know what happened, and I've seen these startups: WhatsApp, Airbnb, Instagram, Venmo, Slack. So many great startups were born at around that time, 2008, 09, and 2010. So it is going to be a wonderful time to start something new, but also obviously there are going to be challenges. But on the same page, there's going to be a really good thing, and that is the costs are going to be low. And what costs? I'm talking about the costs that come along when you're starting a startup, right? Because I've seen the government is supporting these startups these days, and also since people are losing jobs, one way to look at it is a lot of those people are going to be starting new companies, right? And
Yeah.
maybe since there's talent in the market, since people have lost jobs, there is talent out there. So team building is also going to be easy, though since there's no in-person interaction, it's going to be a little tough. But if you know the right places and if you do it right, I think you can really come along without any really difficult hurdles.
Yeah, sure. And this question is to both of you, the three of you. And do you have some suggestions for the upcoming fresh graduates and the other students on how they can start relevant to what the current and future situations may be? As an Indian, many IT companies like TCS and Infosys and Uber are laying off jobs. And how will it affect students graduating in this year, that is 2021 upcoming?
So let me start on that. So see, I'm currently in third year. I'm a student myself, right? So my friends are going after placements and they're doing stuff. And also, since I am running a company, and I've talked to a lot of founders and entrepreneurs. And the thing is, obviously, on-campus placements in India. I hope many of you guys are from India listening right now. So see, on-campus jobs are going to be tough because the companies now they need to be sure of the quality of the person that they are hiring, right? It's not like DS and Elgo and you will clear 1 2 rounds and they'll hire you. Because before, what used to happen is they used to take a good amount of time, 2 to 3 months, for training you, having different sessions, right? Now if you talk about big companies, they have their own platforms for this onboarding process. But for small companies and for medium sized companies, they don't have anything like that. So they will always look after people that are really good at what they do, because they won't have the resources, the time, or the money to really spend training the student. So I believe just be really good at what you do, and if you're the best, you'll get the job. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's a great insight, Abhishek. I really second your opinion. In my opinion, it's going to be hard for students because as Abhishek was also mentioning, you don't only need to be prepared for your technical skills, but you are also be expected to have the other soft skills of the industry, like communications, presentations, and presenting yourself online. Working remotely, discipline is going to be a major factor, because when you're working remotely, you might as well wake up at 11 a.m. No one's looking at that, but it does impact how you interact with your colleagues and how you work in the company. uh, well, that being said, it's time to be more positive, and it's time to keep moving forward, basically. So you gotta be developing skills all the time. You shouldn't waste your time at all, because this is something that you're not gonna get again. I mean, it's a blessing in disguise, because we have now more time to develop ourselves, to develop skills, and build prototypes and POCs for whatever we have been thinking for in past. Because there's no school, there's no commute times, and you have a lot of time on your hand. And there's also a saying, if you can't run, you jog. If you can't jog, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. But you got to move forward. You have to keep moving forward, and that's what I would suggest to new graduates. In fact, one on the good news side, companies like I'm not sure how much employees are being laid off, but like TCS, Infosys, and other Wipro and major IT companies in India are actually going to add another about 100,000 jobs in IT sector. They're going to be remote, most of them, hopefully, but it's something on the positive side, that IT sector and education techs they are actually going to add more jobs to the world, which is a great contribution on their part, and how these industries are taking up the responsibility uh, to move forward and help the citizen.
I definitely agree with Abhishek as well as Ishmeet, especially about the time. It is not going to come again and again. And when it comes to freshers, what I believe is they should start looking at what they want to become or what they want to pick in their careers, and have a clarity of which path they want to get into, instead of waiting for the company and hiring them and setting them into a project. This is all been for ages now. Give a thought of your ideas, or else your introspection, where you identify what your strength is and start working on that. Try to create a social presence, start using LinkedIn, start using Quora, and be productive as much as you can. And it actually gives you a better opportunities. And one thing, when it comes to layoffs, I strongly say as a freshers for 2021, it is going to be very tough. Let me keep it stressful. It will be very tough. So don't go for the packages rather than go for the experiences. Start understanding about the startup or else the organization and get experience. And this is the what you can do at this point of time. Why? Because there are already a lot of folks who are experienced are getting laid off, and they also are going to compete along with you. And when they're competing, they'll definitely, I mean, the management will definitely look for uh, experienced folks. So better start working on your individual skill set is very, very important. With that, I'm done.
Yeah,
If I
thank
can
you,
add
three of
something
you.
to that.
Yeah, you can add. You can add, Abhishek.
Yeah, that was wonderful answer. And Sushmi talked about soft skills, and I would like to touch on that because that is something that I've seen engineering students, especially in India, lack. Even if you're good at tech, whatever you're doing, if you cannot deliver it properly, if you cannot talk to the stakeholders, if you cannot talk to the people who work with you, it doesn't mean anything, right? I've seen students with so good technical skills, but they don't get hired because the HR wasn't impressed by the way they talked, or by their communication skills. So that's something that you really need to work on, especially now since I believe most of these companies are going to be online. They're going to be working remotely. So more than ever, this is the time where you really should be good with your soft skills.
Here, I just want to add some few tools so that the students can actually start using them. And one of the interesting tool is start using Grammarly. When you write no, you will actually feel that it is coming from you, and you can speak better in front of anyone. And that is what actually helps you in your communication. Also, use Evernote. Try to write as much as, read as much as. If these habits, if you can add to your daily processes, I'm sure like you're going to be a definitely a different person, be it yourself or else for the industry. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Anyone want to add anything? Yeah, okay.
I think we should now start taking questions from the audience.
So one last question from the working professionals to the working professionals here. So what are the steps you have taken at your workplace to minimize the impact of COVID-19?
Right. So we saw this coming pretty soon, when the lockdown started in different countries. So we kind of introduced a couple policies that would help our team to basically, assess the situation better and help them perform better. So we went remote as soon as we kind of saw the situation getting bad and bad. So there was a lot to learn from the likes of different companies like GitLab, InVision, Canny, and the other remote companies. GitHub is in fact almost remote. So there was a lot of learning curve for all of us as a management and as a team to do different processes online. For example, we doing our sprint planning sessions, retrospective sessions, and requirement gathering sessions. These were like the most critical areas that we were looking at. But I would say since we were like sort of half remote, because we have like 2 teams in Toronto and India as well. So it was a challenge, but eventually people learned how to get along. We also kind of allowed our team members to get used to the new ways of working. So for example, helping them understand um, or maybe sort of helping them with the courses and stuff on how to work remotely, and maybe some articles and sharing knowledge on Slack, increasing communication basically. So we sort of increased our communication aspects. We reduced all non-essential expenses, at least to say, because things like free lunches and dinners. Of course, if you're not in person, you cannot really have lunch and dinner together. But different sort of those sort of expenses, we cut down most of the non-essential expenses, and we tried to refunnel that cash flow into the growth of the team that's working remotely.
So one last question to all of you. Will the recruitment process change after this lockdown? And if yes, how is it going to change?
Definitely it is going to change for sure. And people will start learning how to present themselves just for the laptop. They'll practice couple of days and get to used to it, and even they'll follow a certain parameters, ensuring that they keep all things before in place, like getting some water, taking care of the noises background, and a lot of things. And it is a completely new way, and this actually can make a student or a fresher to be more uh, serious about his interview. In general, what happens is when you have a drive or you have some call letter for you, people majority of time they focus on their dressing up, they focus on how to go, where to go, and what to speak. This way, they generally actually invest a lot of time, and now that is not going to happen. And I believe people will start adapting this pretty soon. It is not only for the freshers, even it's going to be for the experienced folks also. And from the HR perspective, there are a lot of things which are going to come, especially in fact, being our startup, we actually experimented a couple of things, like we started assessment, and we started asking them like to take a 1-minute video and tell about their experiences, and how do you provide value, what is your 6 months plan, like I mean there are a lot of things. I mean this actually is really going good for our startup, and I believe many organizations will adapt to this kind of paths or pretty soon.
So
Yeah,
yeah, thank you. Let's move on to the Q&A session. Ishmeet, do you have anything to say?
yeah, definitely. As Prapul was saying as well, there's going to be a lot of change in recruitment processes. Uh, as we were discussing before as well, and Abhishek also put his opinion there. So people are not only going to focus on your technical skills, you are going to have additional rounds where you would just be evaluated based on your soft skills. That is something very non-traditional we have seen in industry, and from the likes of other totally remote companies like GitLab, InVision, GitHub, and many more out there. People are going to learn from their specific recruitment process. We could see things like bar raiser rounds from Amazon. We could see more of a product and design based round for engineers who are going to communicate with these different divisions of the team. People, HRs actually specifically would be more interested in how well you can communicate your ideas. So your first challenge would not be writing an algorithm. It would be more on communicating what you think about the company and what you feel about how are you going to do your job, because that's going to be your initial conversation with the HRs, and people are going to go on social aspects definitely. So there would be less of campus hiring, there would be more of networking online, there would be more of these webinars which we have been seeing a lot these days, and there would definitely be more of networking needed on LinkedIn to find a job and get through some channels.
Yeah. Abhishek, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I would just like to add to what we've already talked about. Please build your online profile, your online presence,
Yeah.
because I've seen a lot of people that didn't really care about LinkedIn, Twitter, or such platforms. But now you really have to follow the right people, one, so that you can get those interviews easily. They can refer you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also because see, they need to know that you will be able to work in this new normal. Right. So I believe that's something that will change. So build your LinkedIn profile right, connect with right people. And also, since you guys know the recruiters, they spend like 6 to 10 seconds to decide whether or not they should shortlist your resume. So
Yeah.
also build your resume. And if you want to know how, you can check out on my YouTube channel. Just search Abhishek Sansanwal. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that would be great. So now it's time for the Q&A session. So listeners, you can actually post your questions on the chat session so that our panel members can answer the questions. So the question is from Tejashri Kilari. Will this COVID affect the jobs right now? She actually mean that will it be difficult for people looking out for jobs now, and what the problems will they face, and how do they think? How do you think they can stay better in spite of all these situations?
It's better you can ask for whom this question is. I mean, just update the same to all. Like they can pick the panelist also. That would be perfect.
Yeah, okay. From now they'll do that. So whoever can answer this question, you can answer the question.
So can you repeat the question?
So will this COVID affect the jobs right now? And if yes, what will be the difficulties that people are going to face with their jobs now? And how do you think they can be better in spite of all these problems?
Okay. These are two different questions. One is talking about the freshers, and the second one is people who are going to laid off. If I'm not wrong, correct me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, as we spoke earlier, one of the questions were asked to us like about the freshers employment kind of thing. So I would say like there will be a definitely hit when it comes to freshers
Yeah.
because we have a very close network with the TPOs and we are getting insights from them like there is a lot of delay when it comes to placements which are about to start in the month of June and July supposed to be starting, but uh, due to several reasons from COVID, they're not happening, and they have reduced the number of intake also. So better, please don't consider this as your obstacles. Try to utilize this time wherein you can start learning new skills or else adapting to new environment or else trying to understand business perspective, how businesses start some, I mean, come up with ideas or else where do the revenues come. When you start looking at these things, you will actually get into more of research mode. When you are in research mode, you can actually figure out like, okay, for this particular business, this is a team which is going to happen. And if that team is there, I mean, where I myself will be fit in, like I'm a programmer or else I'm a product manager or else I'm a developer or else I'm a tester. So these things, if you can figure out during this lockdown or during this pandemic, that will definitely give you a right growth. And 1 year, 1 year, I mean 1 year gap doesn't matter at all. It all
Yeah.
matters how you present yourself. And when it comes to the folks who are getting laid off, they should also start upgrading their skills because any company, be it any big company, they will not ask good employees to leave their organization until unless they are not really adding value. Then only they'll try to give couple of reasons and make them leave the organization. Try to understand this very clearly. If you are a real value provider, no company is going to leave you. In fact, they will ask for some cuts and help you understand the problem and make sure that you work with the organization. And with time, they'll definitely look after you. This is a real industry. I mean, industry how it works.
Thank you, Prapan Kumar. So the next question is from Mohit Sharma. I think this is to Ishmeet Singh because he answered the recession question. So what his question was, considering recession, many MNCs are delaying joining of freshers. So what we should do, either wait or learn something or join some startups.
Uh, that's actually, if your joining has been delayed or cancelled, there has to be something that you got to do. As I was saying before, you got to keep moving forward. If you find any opportunities right now which you can join right away, or many startups are hiring out there, and if you feel there's an opportunity out there for you that you can exploit, definitely you should give it a try.
Yeah.
uh, it's not as we have been saying during this last 1 hour, it's not the time to sit on your hands, right? You've got to do something. If you find another opportunity, go for it. If you don't find an opportunity, start learning some skill, right? Start working on some courses, start learning a new technology, or maybe upgrading yourself in the same technology. Start learning a different aspect, because I've seen many engineers, a lot of languages, right? If you are a data science engineer, you know Python really well. If you're front end, you know React really well. Your back end, you know Node.js really well. But what you forget about is working on the other different aspects, like DevOps. Uh, you learn about DevOps. It's not only about servers. It's much more than that, right? Learn about CI and CD pipelines, uh, where you can continuously integrate your solution. Learn about testing. These are different aspects that's gonna flourish you in the industry. As Prapun was also saying, if you are really adding value, no one's going to let you go. And there's no better way to add value than learning these different aspects of development, because at the end of the day, every company will be doing all of these, will be working in these areas, and they would need people who are skilled. They would need people who know everything. And if one person can add a value for two people, instead of laying them off, they would really want to keep them and have that value extracted from them in a very respectful manner. So it's time to learn, it's time to grow. Don't be disappointed by the joining dates. It's just a postponing. They're not going to cancel it.
Okay, sure. So the next question is from Arumalla Bharat. So what he's asking is, since before COVID, interview process is different from for engineering colleges and even for degree. So after Corona, how the HR will hire them? And
Is it for me?
no, actually, a continuation question for that. How the interview procedure gonna change by the IT companies after the post-COVID? So that to the top 10 companies.
So if you ask me about the top 10 companies, they will definitely stick with what they're currently doing, because last 2 academic years, what I have observed is even big companies like TCS, Infosys have started some uh, projects assigning to folks, and they have started online, and they are they are keeping mentors as to see how the projects are going by the internal employees. And there are a lot of innovations which have already started, not just now, it has already started. And even employees, bigger organizations are not uh, hiring first and then training. In fact, they are experimenting when you are still in the third year and fourth year itself. So this been the practice. And when it comes to process change in hiring, there's nothing like process change. Every time people want to upgrade themselves, and people want to try to give the right opportunity for the real contributors, so they always innovate. And you need to understand, it is basic, like reasoning, how you're good at writing, how you're good at understanding specific questions. So there are a couple of preset tasks will be there always, but the core difference you can find is with the startups. Startups will generally hire in a completely different format. So if you take about myself, I never give a job description. I completely go with a different process. So where I actually share what is the vision, where I'll be sharing what is the problem statement that I'm working on, and what are the experiments that I have done. It's a case study for them to understand. The whole idea is to helping them understand what the vision is and make them stick to it. So that is how it gets evolved, and it is different from one startup to the multiple startups, or even for the organizations like bigger MNCs too. So you just need to focus on yourself rather than outside world. Try to think about yourself, like how can you improve yourself, or how can you be a better version of yourself, and start looking from that perspective is going to be a complete game changer for you. That's it.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I
Yes,
can hear you. I think
We cannot hear
your
Sudeep.
voice is not audible.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll continue on Prapun's answer. So I just want to share an example from one of the real world remote companies that, how do they hire? So there's a company called Automatic, and that company is a company behind WordPress. Uh, they are the ones who basically build WordPress. Their strength is 500 plus, and they're totally remote. InVision is a company that has a couple products like InVision Studio and Freehand It's a design based company that provides tools for design. Their strength is about 800 employees, and they are completely remote. So I just want to share like the processes that these companies follow. In Automatic, you would actually be required to interview on Slack. So they are going to check what are your writing skills are. So Prapun touched a little bit on writing skills. I just want to expand on that. Uh, you would be required to basically talk to the founders, your subordinates, or your team members through different channels. So be open towards how you're going to interact with them. Soft skills are going to play a major role in getting jobs after this post-COVID world. Uh, Slack is a very innovative way of interviewing someone, and I was really surprised when I heard Automatic is doing that as well. So it's actually part of their process that you have to clear the writing interviews, which are actually more than a couple in the whole process to get a job there. Envision is basically adapting. Uh, since it's already a remote company, they are, apart from the technical aspects of the interviews, they're adapting Amazon's bar raiser strategy to basically uh, help them identify which candidates are practically more open and able to communicate ideas with the team. So there are a couple rounds there for that as well. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be innovative ways of hiring people. Since these companies are also doing it, I'm pretty sure a lot of companies like ours and the other small businesses around the world are gonna start learning from these big players and are gonna bring up more innovative solutions as well. So be prepared for those type of rounds that in future. We can't hear you, Sudeepa.
Sorry. Would it be a challenge for the companies for hiring new talent?
Uh, there could be. Uh, it's not something that's pretty obvious right now. Uh, Identifying talent is going to be as hard as it was before. I don't think this pandemic is going to change that, but you know, hiring good talent has always been a challenge for every company, and being remote, it just adds to the problem. But from the talent side, I would say it's now your opportunity to basically have uh, have your talent show off in front of the companies in some way. So for example, for engineers, GitHub is going to be a major player. Uh, and a lot of companies these days, these SaaS-based companies are providing you with the free forever model. For example, Slack is free forever for Teams. GitHub has recently gone free forever for Teams as well, unless you upgrade to a specific version. So we are going to see a lot of free tools coming out, and you can definitely use these tools to showcase what you have done. Uh, Build your websites, build your portfolio pages. That's going to be more prominent in this new world. Traditional resumes, people are going to ditch. We can definitely see that trend coming in, where you would want to go on ishmeet.me versus running through a PDF, because that's much more easier, right? um, so yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to find talent and harder moving forward. But it's an opportunity for people, because if you can showcase your talent in a way that companies want to look at, you will stand out, and you will definitely be the one to enter the door for the interview at least, and then it's your skill.
Okay. So thank you. So the next question is from Sashank Varma. The question is, do you think companies will give up intake process for the next 2 years? And should the students go for masters or just wait for the masters?
Let me answer the first part of the question. Companies obviously
Okay.
will not give up intake process. Come on, like they need people, right? They need the workforce. I mean, that's just a really great question because companies have taken damage, and who is going to help them recover? People, right? There's not going to be aliens coming falling out of the sky and helping. Okay, we're going to save you. So definitely, companies are will not give up on the intake process. But again, we've already talked about all these different challenges and what you can do. So just keep those points in mind. And I believe the master's question, Ishmeet or Prapun can answer better.
Um, okay, let me help you understand from a different perspective for this specific question. So you need to understand it is not companies that looking for you or else you looking for the opportunity. There is a need and there is a supply. You just match, I mean, you need to match with the requirement, and it is nowhere related to pandemic situation or other, because businesses showcase in front of them like this is what the talent we have, and then only they can actually get the projects. This is how it works with the corporates, and for that the workforce should be pretty good, and that is why they come upfront like 6 months before, 12 months before to the campuses, and engage with students and filter the students, so that this all data which is going to share to the client, and then the client is going to see, okay, this is the standards that they can deliver, and this is the volume they can this many hours they can work, and for that many works this much talent is already available with so and so service based company. So that is how the whole process work system. So if you start understanding these wide angles, I'm sure like you won't ask such small questions, or you will not fall to these mind-boggling games about whether you should go for a management or else engineering or else wait for a couple of another 2 years. You don't look at these things. And for masters, see, you have already invested your time and money in engineering. Try to utilize that experience and ensure that you gain some real world uh, learnings, and then go for further studies is the best advice I can give at this point of time. That.
Yeah, thank you. So the next question is from Vatsal Patel. So, how this pandemic can affect on-campus placements for computer science in one tier and two tier colleges?
Um, it is not about the placements problem. It is always about the uh, talent. Do you know the overall talent per academic year that is going to come out of from colleges? It is more than 25 lakh students, and the only percentage which is going to be placed is 20%. And what is happening with the rest of the 80%? Those are the folks who are not being serious at this crucial times, from first year, second year, third year. If they can understand about themselves first, or do a homework about their career or their longer visions, I'm sure they can definitely easily walk through all these questions, and especially they'll not focus on the placements, rather than they will actually present themselves micro entrepreneurs kind of a thing, like they'll
Yeah.
speak completely different. So try to create that mindset. So that is what my startup actually focus on. So the startup which I'm currently running is completely helping students to find a purposeful career. So try to develop these habits, or try to look a different perspective, not just how it is going. uh, I mean, I have a lot of things. Maybe you can connect me through LinkedIn or else Instagram. I go live. I do AMA sessions on Instagram. It's just Prapan Kumar. You can type it. You can get it both Instagram and LinkedIn. So it will be a bright place for you to get more insights and realistic examples.
Okay, thank you. I hope people will definitely connect to you. So the next question is from Sejal Jain, that Abhishek has already answered the question. What's the future of information technology in health industry, and how can IT professionals help the overwhelming hospitals?
Yeah, for that, just scroll back a few
Yeah.
minutes and you'll find the
Yes,
answer.
yes.
Yeah, let's not repeat it.
Okay, the next question is from Raja Irfan. Effect of COVID in hiring of students. I think you have already answered that question previously. So, question from Krishna Chanakya. Do you really think participating into hackathons will help freshers to develop their skills? And if yes, are you planning it in any ways?
Uh,
Uh, yeah, go ahead,
Go
Ishmeet.
All
That's what
right.
I'll give a different perspective. You are the one who are into technical, so you go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Prapun. In general, apart from this pandemic situation, hackathons have helped students develop so much of skill that they don't even realize that they're going to develop that in that such short amount of time. Uh, you know, there's a lot of preparation that goes in hackathons from both the sides. When you are preparing an event like that, you gotta think about multiple aspects. Similarly, when you're participating, you also gotta think about multiple aspects, right? Like first and foremost problem is your project that you got to finish up in either 24, 36, or 48 hours, right? You got to think about, you get to think about innovative stuff. You work on problems like solving the algorithms that need to fulfill your requirements. And then you also have to go in that pressure cooker situation where you would want to
Yeah.
keep writing code for long hours. Trust me, those situations are not different to anyone. Even in the industry, even while working in any company, you would definitely face those situations where you would be writing code for 16, 18 hours straight away. We have done that in our company. We have had days where we have started at 6 in the morning and worked till like 4 in the morning the
Yeah.
next day. And trust me, it helps because hackathons help you develop these type of skill set, but probably no one else can teach you. And this is not related to the pandemic. This is not related to any situation that we're facing right now. This is a general advice to all the students. Definitely go for hackathons. Prepare for even if it's a small ones. It's great. For the next part, I'm not really planning any hackathon on my part yet, but we are definitely hiring a few people from front end and design background. So there's a small sort of exercise that we do in that part, and that's all we have for now. But definitely, there's platforms like HackerRank, Top Coder that you would see a lot of contests being going on, and definitely be part of that. That's gonna help you a lot.
Yeah.
Let me give
For
my two
sure.
cents as a student, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, see, according to me, man, hackathons are the literally the best place. One, to meet new people. Second, to develop skills, right? So, as a fresher, if you've not been to any hackathon, you will think maybe I don't have the skills. What will I do? But it's such a wonderful experience. The last hackathon that I went to was a junction in Finland, and that was a really, really different experience. I learned a lot. I networked with amazing people, though that is true that you won't be able to develop a solid project, but still the whole experience of hackathon is pretty amazing, and also you get the free food, so there you go. But also another thing is, see, now the hackathons, that experience of offline hackathons where you guys stay up till 4 a.m. and actually you stay up for 36 hours or however long the hackathon is, and just rely on coffee and energy drinks. You won't get that now anytime soon, I believe. But definitely you can participate in online hackathons. Just go to mlh.io and you will find plenty of hackathons. So, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, this question is asked by my friend. He's a schoolmate of mine, Krishna Chanakya. Uh, Good to see you, Krishna, here. So the point what I want to share is now in this virtual world, the real hackathon feel. I'm sure like you're not going to get it, but actually hackathons are meant for physical. and physical hackathons will actually help you connect with various mindsets. It is not about completing your own project or the own problem statement. You will actually try to look a complete army, different people working, I mean, different experiences, people working on similar projects and coming up with new ways of ideas or executions. And actually, this specific ground is going to be a best ground to find your next futuristic employees or else co-founders or else programmers or designers. Actually, more than for the developers, I believe this is a place where the HRs can spend a lot of good time to find the right talent. And I see there is a lot of scope in hackathons and also developing skills. Definitely, it is one of the uh, best outcome of it. And it is not about only the skill which you have. You will actually try to come up with new ways of execution also, and you will learn different skills as well, because you will get to see a lot of people coming up with the presentation, because the presentation time is going to be less than 2 minutes and you need to complete it. One is going to execute the solution, lot of things. I'm sure like there are a lot of learning for sure. In virtual, I'm sure it is not that exciting, but definitely if physical, it is great. It's a great vibe for everyone.
Yeah, sure. So, one last question. Any suggestion for freshers from Raja Irfan? One short suggestion from every one of you.
Uh, as I said before, keep moving forward, keep learning something new, and keep brushing up your skills. Build an online presence, and everything's gonna go smooth. It's not as bad as people are projecting it. This time will pass as well. So good luck.
Anyone, Abhishek or Prapun? One suggestion.
Sure. So, Raja, Irfan, what I say here is a complete new for you. I know that. Just close your eyes and start thinking about your father. Say, for example, he is running a business. What kind of employees that he will look for? Whether he will look for value providers or else just for someone who is just asking for opportunity. So give me an opportunity, I'll work and I'll learn and I'll grow. So I mean, will your father give for a fresher complete or else someone who has done something in their life, even though they failed, that is fine, because they gained experiences. That matters a lot. And start having this kind of attitude first, and always believe in yourself, not the external part, where what kind of company or what kind of employment or what kind of package that you're getting is not going to be last for many days. I'm sure, because I have been in the same path. I was in a mindset of a job seeker, and now I turn to a job provider kind of person. So start digging into yourself is the first and utmost thing you have to do. And jobs are pretty easy for sure when you have a real talent.
Okay, so
Yeah, so let
Abhishek.
me just say something. Yeah. See, don't really, as Ishmeet said, don't let this pandemic or whatever's going on stress you out or really, scare you. I mean, it's happened before. It's just happening again. And yeah, you will face difficulties. If this didn't happen, things would be a little easier for you. But that is good, right? I mean, you'll have to put in more efforts, and it's going
Yeah,
to be fun. So,
yeah.
one thing that I'd suggest you is, if you haven't yet, please go and watch Steve Jobs' commencement speech from a few years back at Stanford. That's like one of the best speeches I've ever heard. And also, Sundar Pichai recently uploaded on YouTube Originals a commencement speech for the class of 2020. So please do watch those videos. They will definitely, make you feel better. And you've got this. I believe in you.
Yeah.
It is not just
Thank you.
watching them. You have to execute also. You have to take the first step. then only those videos will going to help you in your life.
Yeah. So end of the Q&A session. So viewers, you have the feedback form link in the comment section. I hope and I wish everyone to fill the form. Okay, so the final thing for today's session. So everyone please fill this feedback form. And yeah, I, on behalf of GirlScript Visakhapatnam, GirlScript Faridabad, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the panel members for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. It's great having you here.
Same here, Sudeepa. We wish
Thank
a
you for
great
inviting
success.
us. You asked really good questions, and I hope the audience found it entertaining.
Yeah, thank you.
We wish
Thank
a
you.
great success for GirlScript, both Visakhapatnam and other 63 chapters across India and global. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.